Well, in 2012, you co-starred in the TV series Longmire.
Yeah.
And that almost was like kind of like a big comeback for you.
Yeah, I mean, you say comeback, and I always say I never went away. You know, I did a number of films that not a lot of people saw, you know, but I didn't have to go back to flipping burgers, you know.
Right.
I've worked in the film industry for 40 years and have never been, you know, unemployed. You know, you can look at the IMDb. I've made movies or TV shows or guest appearances, you know, for almost 40 years. Will I ever regain the heights that I had, you know, in those first 3 films in Hollywood? I don't know. You know, who knows? But it's not as if I, you know, took a sabbatical or, you know, disappeared. Doing a lot of fan conventions now, you know, I get to meet a lot of those people, you know, who saw movies like Bats, you know, or other things, and it's like, you know, fortunately they're still fans of a lot of the films that, you know, that were out there. But yeah, Longmire was a really special thing, and is still, you know, beloved by, you know, by the people who caught it originally. I think it's still streaming on Netflix, although they're about to take it off. And one of the first actually to be saved by streaming, because A&E dropped it, even though it was their #1 show. Once again, I will never understand how execs think. But yeah, good friends with Craig Johnson, you know, who wrote the novels. I'd read all of them. I love that character. Once again, a native character, and I, you know, flew up to the Lame Deer Reservation on my own dime to go meet with Marcus Red Thunder and the Cheyenne elders to get their blessing to play this role. You know, and Standing Bear is just amazing. Interestingly enough, my friendship with Craig Johnson, I was, because of all the time that I was spending in Santa Fe, which is a great place to write. You know, George O'Keeffe was there, Sam Shepard, you know, did a lot of his work there for a long time. I started writing again, and for the first time writing narrative. And Craig Johnson, I showed him a couple of chapters of a book I was working on. I said, am I wasting my time? And Craig was like, no, you need to finish that. And that book became The Tinderbox. And that, you know, Craig Johnson actually has the blurb on top. And my wife, Yvonne, did all the illustrations in this. This book did so well that we did a sequel that is out now, and it was actually #1 on Amazon for YA space operas, and that's the Tinderbox Underground Movement. So the Tinderbox, Soldier of Endear and Tinderbox Underground Movement are available out there now. My wife did the illustrations for both, and I'll be talking about them at the Tucson Festival of Books in March, where Craig will be, and also like Edward Burns, who's got a book out now. So going full circle back from that conversation with my father when I was 13, I never stopped writing, and I'm actually really happy to be getting back to it in a big way.
Well, you played Henry Standing Bear,
yes,
which was a Native American character in Longmire. Now, Zan McLaren was also in that series. And I have yet to see a TV show or a movie that has a Native American character that he is not in.
Yeah.
Like he gets every Native American role in Hollywood, period. I don't even think he even needs to show up or read at all these days.
No, probably not. I mean, but he deserves it. I mean, it's funny. I mean, I told him when we were making Longmire, because he was having his doubts. I said, bro, don't worry, man. Don't worry. Your star is on the rise. You know, his heart's in the right place. He's a great guy, fantastic actor. I said, you just need to, you know, stay the course. And sure enough, you know, he's blown up. But over the years, you know, there have been a number of, you know, actors who pop up in everything. Graham Greene, dear friend of mine. You know, we did Wolf Lake, the very short-lived Wolf Lake, back in 2001 for CBS, and, you know, only 9 episodes. Something happened in 2001 that kind of derailed, you know, anybody's appetite for fantasy. Not to trivialize, you know, world events, but yeah, we were supposed to premiere September 12th, 2001. So yeah, that, you know, that, and yet again, that's a show that a lot of people bring up at the festivals because it was ahead of its time. It was before, you know, Twilight. and Vampire Diaries and all of those. And so had it been, a couple of years later, or if things had been different, that might have taken off. But, I got Graham, onto that, that set. Also, Tantu Cardinal, dear friend. I cast her in Sioux City, which I directed, back in the early 90s. And, I was always a huge fan of hers and was able to get her onto the show as well. So, I mean, there have been a number of Native actors who, Adam Beach, they show up because I think they are opening the doors and leading the way for other, young Native, performers. And I've always been really, really proud that, they've endorsed me, that they've recognized what I've done for the Native community as well.
Well, around that time, you were featured in the Imagine Dragons music video for Radioactive, which is now over 1 billion views on YouTube. That's their biggest song, period.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. That one came by just absolute happenstance. A buddy of mine at the time in LA, Alan, he was partners with a guy who's godfather to a couple of my kids, Chase Michaels. They are a courier service in LA, right? They don't just move scripts; they move editing equipment and video equipment and all that stuff, big trucks for the studios. And one of the producers who was going to do this video said to Alan, "Don't you know Lou Diamond Phillips?" He goes, "Yeah, he's a good friend." He goes, "Do you think he'd do a music video?" He goes, "He might." So they gave the concept to Alan. Alan forwarded it to me. I read this, Muppet Death Match, the Tony Montana of Muppet Death Matches. And I went, all right, this is really weird, man. I got to do this, And so they flew me to New York, where I live now. But they flew me to New York and took me out to this restoration village where we shot it. And it was really gloomy and really moody, and the clouds were coming in. And I said, wow, this is great for the video. And they said, yeah, unless it shuts us down. I said, why would it shut us down? And they said, there's a hurricane coming. Hurricane Sandy's heading for us right now. And sure enough, it shut us down mid-afternoon. And they were going to close Manhattan down by 7. So I had to get back to Manhattan, get in a car. The airports were already closed, and they drove me to, I think, Philadelphia to catch a flight back to L.A. because I had to be back in L.A. for some work. But then they flew me back out a few weeks later to finish the shoot.